That's better.
That's a lot easier.
A lot easier. All right. So the book is called Lady Jane Grey, and I'm reading it to Felix, Bedtime Stories. And it's mostly true. It's called a memoir enhanced by time. Okay. Chapter 1. And this is a true story about my horse, Lady. That's Lady galloping through the snow in Staten Island. Miss Pigott, that really was her name. I slowly entered my 6th grade classroom on the first day of school at PS 22 on Staten Island, New York, in September of 1958, and peeked a glimpse of the teacher at the front of the room. I had heard that my new teacher had been pulled out of retirement and was real mean. When I saw her standing near her desk, I slowed even further to a halt. The child behind me walking into me, and a third child walking into him. It was a 3-kid pileup in room 212. Her gray hair was piled high on her head in a queen bee bun to top off her gray suit and her very tall, thin, gray presence. Her eyes were slits as she took each of us in, the cause of the interruption in the doorway. Her mouth was a line. Find the seat with your name on it and take that seat. You will find a pencil and paper on your desk. You may begin copying what is on the board while I take the attendance. I found my name, sat down, and looked at the blackboard. On the board was written in beautiful script, Miss Pigott, room 212. Objective: to have an orderly and respectful beginning to the 6th grade. Rules: you will use your teacher's name when addressing the teacher, as in, yes, Miss Pigott, and Miss Pigott, may I go to the toilet? 2, no talking in class without permission. 3, Miss Pigott will line you up at the required times. Do not leave your seat until you have been told to line up for dismissal, library, and physical education. 4, no one is to be out of their seat without permission. 5, raise your hand for permission to leave your seat and to use the restroom. 6, if you would like to speak, raise your hand and I will recognize you. Okay, I thought, I can deal with those rules. I was always a very compliant student, and I was used to clear rules at home. 3 or 4 rules were consistently and harshly enforced by my father, and I had them securely established by the time I was 5. Don't lie. Don't whine. Stop if I yell stop. Come home when you're called. That was all the rules. Our neighborhood of 10 houses was smack in the middle of a marsh and a forest, just before the Goethals Bridge entrance plaza between Staten Island and New Jersey. Isolated and secure, I was free to wander farther and farther home as I grew bigger. So Miss Pigott's rules didn't scare me, but she did. I studied Miss Pigott as she checked off each name. I mused, who does she remind me of? Snow White? No, not Snow White herself. Maybe the witch who did the mirror, mirror thing. But definitely some sort of witch. As I turned to the task of writing the objective and the rules, my mind wandered to my fabulous luck. I had the scariest teacher in the school. Everyone said so. And yet I would be free every day at 12 noon. The rest of the day was my own. The new junior high school 51 on Staten Island was being built for us baby boomers. It was under construction and would not be ready for a year. and split sessions were New York City's solution to the post-World War II burgeoning classrooms. Last year, my 5th grade classroom had 42 students in it. It had been wall-to-wall kids and desks. This year was going to be so much better. 21 6th graders were in school from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock, and the other 21 kids went from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 p.m. From my point of view, I was one of the lucky ones to be liberated every day at noon. Since I was an early riser and was used to waking early anyway to milk Scamper, my goat, I was happy to get school over with early each day. Our classwork for that first day was to copy the rules on the board, copy the 20 spelling words 5 times each, read the first story in our Basil reader, do the first 4 pages in the workbook, read the first chapter in our social studies textbook, answer the questions in the back of the chapter in complete sentences, and do the first 4 pages in our math workbook. I stopped and rubbed my tired and cramped hands often. It was pretty quiet in the classroom. There were 4 6th grade classes, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and 6-4. I was in the 6-1 class, and because we were tracked by our supposed ability, we were mostly obedient and hardworking, wanting to get good grades. As we were busily working that first day of school, we were suddenly aware of a loud voice. We all looked up. There was Robert, standing in front of Miss Pigott, his head bent submissively. "Did you read the rules? What is your name?" "Robert." "Robert what?" "Robert Mason." "What is the first rule, Robert Mason?" Robert read the first rule slowly out loud. By now, we were all watching to learn what infraction had been breached. I surely wanted to know. Being called out in front of the classroom was my worst fear. I never even asked to go to the bathroom, thinking the whole thing was too embarrassing. My bladder was strong. I always waited until lunch. Being spoken to by a teacher was something to be avoided. Being yelled at by a teacher was mortifying. Poor Richard. I didn't move. "May I go to the bathroom, Miss Pigott?" "Now read rule number 4. Robert read softly. "No one is to be out of their seat without permission. Go back to your seat and copy the rules again so you can learn how to ask for permission." I suddenly needed to go to the bathroom. I looked at the clock. 11:10. I could make it. Finally, we were dismissed in the freedom of the afternoon. It was too pretty outside to take the bus home, so I began the walk home from school, glad to be moving, covering ground, going somewhere. Miss Pigott got not 1 second of reflection from me that first day of school. I left her in room 212. Chapter 2. We'll read a couple chapters and then we'll stop. The September sun. Maybe we should turn it off, and that way